Okay. Thank you, Esti. Our next speaker is Ran Shahor. He is the CEO and co-founder of Holistic Cyber. Ran Shahor is also a retired brigadier general, and he founded the elite cybersecurity unit in IDF, and he was a member of many other elite units.
23 years ago, as a general, I actually started the first cyber program in the IDF, which was actually the first cyber attack program all over the world. Now, at that time, there was a furious objection to this project. People thought we lost our mind. We are defocusing. We're investing huge amount of time, management efforts, and money on science fiction, something that would never happen. Today, 23 years later, this science fiction is our day-to-day reality, and unfortunately, it is here to stay. So as said, my name is Ran Shahor. I'm the CEO of the co-founder of Holistic Cyber, and we are going to talk today about ways of staying ahead of cybersecurity grade attacks and attackers. So the events between the US and Iran were just another painful reminder of the cybersecurity global posture. Now, the world of cyber was totally changed 6, 7 years ago. Organizations that felt that they are very well secured were attacked and hurt very, very badly. And the reason for that was that the balance that was there for 20 years between attackers and defenders was totally broken 7, 8 years ago. Attackers became and becoming more and more aggressive, more and more sophisticated, and more bold. And defenders could not react properly. From the attacker side, there are mainly 3 reasons for that. The first reason is obvious. It is very profitable, and it involved almost no personal risks. So many capable people all over the world are joining the party. The second reason is a severe leakage of nation-states' own attack tool to the darknet. So today, every 14 years, a hacker can go to the darknet, pay $200, buy an equivalent of a nuclear submarine, and take a bank down. And more than that, if I want to attack each one of you, I don't have to buy this tool. I can go to the darknet and buy on these screenshots from the dark web itself, and buy as a service. Very easy to use, not very expensive, but not legal. The third reason, which is more recent, but maybe even more dangerous, is the fact that for many years there was some kind of understanding that nation-state would attack nation-state, and attacker would attack banks, insurance companies, and the like. No more. Behind most of the large 2-year attacks, it is done by hackers, but it is heavily sponsored or even commanded by nation-states. From the defender side, they could not react properly, as I said, mainly because of severe shortage of experienced and well-trained cyber people. But the real challenge is that there is an understanding today that the only way to deal with this level of sophistication and aggressiveness of attackers sponsored by nation-states, you need to be able to think like the attacker. And the only efficient way to think like the attacker is if you have an attacker background yourself. And in the Western world, to get a person with attacker background, it is either impossible or very, very expensive. In Israel, the system is totally different. In Israel, joining the military is mandatory. Something needs to be done here. Is mandatory, and the military have the privilege to pick the brightest 1,000 people, boys and girls, walk them through extremely intensive cybersecurity courses, and then for a period of 10 years, those geniuses are taking part in mission-critical, state-of-the-art, hands-on, most sophisticated attack missions in the world. But then, by the age of 30, 96% of them would leave to the private market because the 8-100, the Mossad, and other units, they don't need so many people. They have a fresh flow of 1,000 people every year. The first 3 years, they don't have to pay them because service is mandatory. So actually, the system allowing an annual constant flow of world-class cyber experts that are better educated, more sophisticated, more creative than the worst hackers of the world, yet they are good people. My son is one of them, and you can imagine how proud I am, to the private sector. So what we have learned so far, it is today a common knowledge, and we have it across the board today and yesterday here on this stage. Today, anyone and everybody should expect a nation-state grade devastating attack. So no wonder that managements are very, very worried all over the world. But does that mean that we lost the game? Not at all. In the next 2.5 minutes, we'll talk about what one can do in order to be much better protected. So the first thing, one needs to make sure that its trusted advisor, its defender, have the right team in place. And we just discussed the qualities of the team that is needed. The second element that is not less important is the methodology. In holistic cyber, we call it OFM, Offensive Framework Methodology, meaning we act as your trusted advisor. We do only defense, but we do it from the attacker point of view. This obviously allowed us to constantly attack our own work, but even more importantly, this allows us to prioritize. Knowing what's probable today, what may be probable 2 years down the road, and what is not probable at all for this particular client, we know what exhausts the attacker, what frightened the attacker, what made the attacker to go to the other bank. And in today's world, when budgets are limited, because cyber is becoming yet another risk, the only way to ensure a proper defense is to prioritize. And the only efficient way to prioritize is to understand the way the attacker thinks. The next element is you need to make sure that your defender is adapting an holistic approach, meaning not dealing only with your cyber system, but also with the entire supply chain and the HR that is probably the most two important aspects. And the last element, you better verify that your defender have its own R&D, developing its own consulting tool in order to make his work more efficient, but also more sophisticated. So what we have learned today? You're probably all familiar with the story about Jack and John that went camping in Alaska. Morning came, they came out of the tent, and then a furious bear running at them. So John said, "Can you pass me the running shoes?" And Jim asked, "What do you need the running shoes for? There is no way you will outrun the bear." So John said, "I don't have to outrun the bear, I have to outrun you." In the cyberspace, we're in the same place. If anybody promises you that he can make you fully protected, don't believe it. And there is no need to be fully protected, because trying to protect everything is as if you are protecting nothing. You need to make sure you are better protected than your competitor, than your industry. You need not to outrun the bear, you need to outrun your friend. Thank you.